It's on your channel. Somehow I got your channel's information, so I just put that in there.
It just happens sometimes.
It happens sometimes.
I've said it multiple times, but it wouldn't be the first, second, or third time that mystical elves in the machine kind of take things and run awry with them.
Yeah. Jenny and I have been watching a lot of Ghost Adventures lately.
Oh.
Getting into the holiday spirit.
I maybe a month or two off, but you know what? We'll accept it. Explain to me how's the Ghost Adventures going?
It is going well. I gotta remember that I have music on in the background. Boop, 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 boop. It was all DMCA free. Anyways, it's so today's episode we were watching before I came up here, because normally that's what happens. We start watching a show before coming up to work on this, and we were watching an episode where they're dealing in the mines in Colorado, and there's America's full of well-intentioned people everywhere.
Well-intentioned people.
This guy was talking about the Tommyknockers. Do you know what the Tommyknockers are?
I feel like I want to know what the Tommyknockers are.
Tommyknockers are supposedly a type of troll that lives in a mine.
Oh, okay.
And the more malevolent ones decide to chip away at beams and everything. So we were watching that.
This is the real thing. I just Googled Tommyknocker and it's a Stephen King book.
Yep.
There's lore. There are t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world?
I don't know. I don't know.
This is great.
It might be. It's really put me in the holiday mood. Let me just say.
Oh man, them damn Tommyknockers.
Those flipping Tommyknockers.
Out there knocking down the structural support beams of your mine. So were any Tommyknockers found on Ghost Adventures?
See, that's the thing. They very rarely actually find anything. Most of the time it's just like, oh, Aaron, did you hear that?
My EMS is going crazy.
We got an EVP.
Oh no.
Of my mom saying happy birthday.
You have to change the frequency. She's telling me to come inside for dinner. Oh no.
What?
Are
Mom?
the street lights on?
Mom!
No. I'm supposed to be in before the street lights come on.
Mom! No, guys. Mom! All right, guys, I gotta
go.
see you later. Yeah, just
Here,
the bells
gotta
ring.
shut off the camera. I gotta leave the mine and the Tommyknockers. Mom is calling. My chicken nuggets are ready. Well, I mean, I used to watch a whole lot of Ghost Hunters, which was real big on Sci-Fi, like a decade ago. It was one of their biggest shows. So it was always funny because it's like you say, they always go in and have a real interesting time, but rarely do they find anything.
Right.
Anything at all.
My favorite thing that we've watched together, and this is really. So we got into this whole Ghost Adventure thing with Zach Baggins, and so we start watching. They put out a documentary about the Demon House in Gary, Indiana. I don't know if you've heard of
that place. I have heard about that place.
It is bonkers, and so we start watching it, and Jenny is in social work, so we're watching this thing, and they're like, we now go to the new home of the family that lived in that house in Indianapolis, Indiana. And so the family where the kid walked up the wall backwards, they moved to Indianapolis, and they start going down a street in the documentary, and Jenny's like, I know this street. If they go into a house that I've been into, we are shutting this off now.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
Who in their right mind buys a purportedly haunted house? It's like moving to Amityville. No one moves to Amityville. Yeah. You move from Amityville. Once a place gets a reputation for that sort of thing, your first thought shouldn't be, That's some prime real estate.
I want to go to there.
I'm a house on Haunted Hill. That's a great estate. I'm gonna go purchase that for my family. I mean,
Look, man, some people are into it.
geez. That's some questionable. That's questionable logic on my on my end there. I wouldn't purchase any previously haunted houses. It's just a list of things I go through. All right.
Yeah.
Was this place on an Indian burial ground? No. Fantastic. Is there a burial ground within 15 miles? No. Oh, excellent work. Wait.
Was it near a sanitarium of any kind?
Is there a sanitarium anywhere in the state?
Yes.
If yes,
was
no.
it a former prison?
No.
Was the owner of this castle a warlock?
What kind of warlock?
Well,
like what exotic was he using?
Straight up stasis main. Straight up stasis main.
That might have to be a no for me, dog. That's gonna have to be a no for me.
No, I'm sorry. So
I feel like we should call Destiny Ghost Adventures because it's
yeah. We should.
Thing,
we should.
Right?
Or do a segment about it. I don't know. So, anyways,
Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, we'd probably get sued. Anyways,
oh.
So, you had said that you'd had limited time this week to play games. What all did you do this week?
Not a whole heck of a whole lot, and we'll talk about the little bit that we did there. I guess first things first. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 264 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We are back once again to talk about what is going on in the world of Destiny 2 in these last couple of weeks of the what's a charitable way of saying this? Interesting year of 2020. It's almost over, y'all.
Oh yeah, this year was dog shit.
It's almost over. We just have to hope that RNG gives us a better year in 2021. Joining us today, we've got our usual, our rock steady host, Mr. Dan Finity. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. How about you?
I'm doing good. I said to you before the show, I'm immediately coming from dinner. I had myself a 20-ounce ribeye bone in. And it's only a matter of time before it wins the battle against my stomach. So we're going to have to get through this.
Let's get going.
Of course, my name is The Black Link. And like Dan said, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Because it's actually been a pretty eventful week here in the world of Destiny 2. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the week, of course, we had a hotfix go live. The Hawkmoon Quest went live. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about that quest and the weapon itself. Some really exciting prospects about it that I can't wait to dive into. We had this great dev article from Joe Blackburn drop that talked a whole lot about the state of rewards in Destiny 2 and gave us a bit of a heads up on some of the things that we'll be chasing as players next season in Grandmaster Nightfalls. And if you haven't read any of that, sneak peek, Grandmasters might be worth doing. Finally. Yeah. Which is good news for Dan because he does Grandmasters. I have never done a Grandmaster Nightfall. I haven't done a single one.
I did Grandmasters the first season, and that was with the help of Demise Town and iLulu. And they were, at that time, I mean, outside of the struggle, there really wasn't anything to do for them, to do them for. So it was kind of like, I got my Conqueror title, I'll see you never. Bye. And then you left. But with this dev update, which is pretty awesome, and I'm glad to see that Joe Blackburn is back.
Right.
And in an assistant game director role, because he's always been like fairly down to earth with the community and like very giving of his time and information. So really excited to see him pop up here with this dev update. So should we just dive in?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see here. Basically, so they talk about, we're still hard at work on improvements on how we rotate gear out of the Destiny Power ecosystem. They were talking about how gear comes in and rolls out each season, why sunsetting was a thing. They said introducing infusion caps is part of addressing this, a way to make sure that overall number of rewards Guardians need to care about in order to be competitive in Destiny is prohibitive. It is also a way to continue evolving each season's meta, while at the same time making sure players still have a ton of options when choosing what they want to bring into the next challenge. Our goal from the beginning of the Infusion Caps is to improve and keep Destiny 2 fresh over time. What we're most looking forward to is how the system will introduce innovation to the season over season meta, how creative builds from the community will shine, and how we can continue to deliver more unique handcrafted gear that aligns with the world narrative where the universe is going. So they talk about the initial reward pool on release for Beyond Light was just too small.
Yeah.
Which I think everybody can pretty much agree with there. And then it's frustrating to be playing Destiny and see another player use a weapon that is no longer obtainable in the game.
Right.
So, like, what are your thoughts on this? Like initially,
I think that hits the nail on the head. Beyond Light's initial reward pool was way too small, even when you take into account some of the things that dropped later in the season with like the Season of the Hunt and that series of weapons, which are great, by the way. The Season of the Hunt has some fantastic weapons tied to Wrathborn Hunt. You should get that stuff. But the loot pool was way too small in comparison to the amount of things that they sunset. And you just went over their explanations for it. They want to limit the amount of things that players have in the loot pool to players have to worry about grinding for and going for. There's a lot of useless fluff that was in the loot pool beforehand. So I can understand that. But as we've talked about multiple times on this show, I thought it was a bad idea to just wholesale get rid of a lot of the things, including stuff that was like a year old. Stuff from Shadowkeep's initial release was sunset when that stuff is still relevant in the game. Like the Dreambane armor set, the moon weapons, and all of that kind of stuff. It should have still been relevant when Beyond Light dropped. And I was sad to see that get hit with the Nerf hammer as well. I think another problem there, of course, was the fact that they're sunsetting a lot of gear, but then bringing new versions of that gear back for you to regrind without any new perks to go for. I think True Prophecy, Steady Hand is an Iron Banner hand cannon that's going on right now. I guess we'll talk a little bit about that. That was available, in previous seasons. Sunset, and then brought right back with the same perk pool. And it's like, why? What was the point of getting rid of all that stuff? So I'm happy to see that they've learned. I'm happy to see that they've kind of signed on to some of the complaints of the community here. And Joe goes on to make a commitment that in future seasons, they are going to be expanding that loot pool so that you always have, I guess, sort of a healthy amount of things to go for, which is good. It's a looter shooter. You're supposed to have loot.
Yeah. I will say they did add the 7th Seraph weapons in to the loot pool this season.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah. I kind of wished that with the prophecy, we'd see the Trials of the 9 weapon set come in with random rolls, because that would just expand that out wider and give you more reason to go for it.
Things.
Sorry, you're cutting out there. What?
Sorry, I was lost in indignation there. Like, I 100% agree. Where in the world are the prophecy weapons and armor set? Why, or not prophecy, but Trials of the 9 stuff? Why is that not in prophecy? Which we got back this week, by the way. Very happy that dungeon came back. I don't know why the old Trials of the 9 stuff isn't in there.
Yeah. That was kind of like, it would have been nice to see. It would have added to the loot pool. It would have given a reason to do the prophecy outside of the pinnacle or the power items per week. Have you played prophecy yet this week?
I have. I've cleared it once on my warlock, and man, I love it. I still love that dungeon.
I love that dungeon too. They've made slight tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
That throw me off, or at least the first 2 times we've run it have thrown me off. I think the new lighting systems, like definitely affect the desert, the Dead Sea area. Like they definitely affect that to the point where like it's really hard for me to see the blights now. Now, granted, I should probably like get new glasses or whatever, but that threw me off a little bit. It feels like all the ads are way more aggressive. That was brought up in chat earlier. When I was playing,
did notice that.
Yeah, and then what was the cube room is interesting. the cube itself will sometimes glitch now, so that it doesn't show you what sides have been completed.
Right.
So all of them are smooth, and you just have to play a guessing game as to like what the knockout was.
Just
And
try to slam.
yeah, and then the final boss, they moved one of the Chunguses from up on the podium directly across from the other to in the
Yep.
back of the room. And like, so just small things like that are throwing me off. It does feel like we're hitting things a little bit harder, but that would make sense since we're so much higher up in light now. But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just little things that throw little kinks in the machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will say I noticed as some of that. The lighting's definitely different. I think that you're right. It's a part of the lighting changes that they made with Beyond Light. When it comes to the enemies hitting harder, that's what I noticed most, and I noticed it most in the second encounter, the cube room. So it was
Yeah.
like, oh, I died way faster to that knight than I think I probably used to.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost kind of feels like the way enemies are tuned in Gambit, because enemies are tuned to be stronger in Gambit than they are in normal activities, and it almost kind of felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I don't know what's going on there with the changes, but it does feel like something.
Well, and if
They
you
slap a little harder.
yeah, if you think of it about it as an in-game activity, it came like midway through the year, like
Yep.
in between releases. So them kind of tweaking it to be a little bit more like involved actually makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense.
I
Uh,
dig it.
and yeah, I enjoy it as well. It just it it's like walking up to somebody that you think you know at the bar. you,
Not them.
you see them and then you're like, Brett, and then they turn around and they have a mole on their face that is clear, like it is not
Not
your
Brett.
friend Brett, but it looks like him. He just has a mole like on a different part of his, and so you're like, oh, you're not my friend, and
You're
like
not my friend.
you kind of walk
Oh,
away, but it's familiar, but just
yeah.
tiny
Little
little
bit different.
yeah, the jawline's different on it.
Right, right. Yeah, I definitely experienced a little bit of that in my my one run of it thus far
Yeah,
as well.
stasis seems fun in it. I haven't gone
Yeah.
too far into that.
A little easy to erase that last boss.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Stasis. It's good stuff though. It breaks everything equally in PvE. I
Yeah.
like that.
I think the next big thing that they talk about here is growing the power ecosystem. So
Yes.
yeah, they said one of the benefits of improving the technology and rebuilding the technology from the ground up was that it was improving the speeds by which they could make and update Destiny, which we've seen on a regular
seen.
basis since launch now. But one of the big things, season 13 will be here in just a couple months, very soon in the world of Destiny development. So let's talk about what we're continuing to leverage our technology to act with agility. So they're going to be adding in season 13 the first chance for us to prove our commitment to growing the overall power ecosystem with each release in year 4. We want to make sure that with each new season, there are more weapons to take with you to tackle the Nightfall Ordeal or Master Bunker E15. While we won't be spoiling that new stuff, you'll be able to chase in our next season. I did want to touch on a few changes we've made to the reward offering, specifically based on what we've seen in Beyond Light. In season 13, in season 13, we're adding 6 new legendary weapons to your overall activities, 2 each for Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible. In addition to the weapons above, Nightfall Strikes are getting 3 unique weapons, with the Palindrome, the Swarm, and the Shadow Price, all making their Destiny 2 debuts. If you're brave enough to take on the Grandmaster Nightfalls, you will be able to earn adept versions of these weapons. That's huge.
That is monumental because it addresses several things, of course. The notion of getting new and classic D1 weapons back into the game. That's one great part of this. And the fact that they're adding rewards, tangible, worthwhile rewards to the Grandmaster Nightfall itself. We talked a bit about it at the beginning of the show. You basically ran the Grandmaster to get your title a couple seasons ago, and then never stepped foot in there again. I think the only other reward was what? Extra upgrade materials?
I think one week there was double like XP,
Yeah,
not double XP. I think there was that, but there was double rewards one weekend, and that Nightfall Grandmaster Nightfall was easily farmable, so you could kind of like
yeah. It was
crush
like Lake of
into it.
Shadows or something.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah,
you did that before Season of the Arrivals to get your stuff to then go out from there. But yeah, this is huge. I like
major.
adding adept weapons into the Grandmaster. Like,
It's huge. Like, because they announced that they were going to be having adept weapons for Nightfalls last season. They didn't tell us exactly how they were going to be doing it.
mhm,
I thought that they was going to be tied to Grandmasters, and I'm really happy to see that's right. But bringing back vaunted D1 classics like the Shadow Price, the Palindrome, the Swarm, which was the Vanguard LMG from
mhm.
like year one. I think that's fantastic. And the fact that they're bringing them back in an adept form, which if you don't remember, it's going to be the same as how adept weapons are available in trials. They're going to have specific perks that are only available on the adept versions of guns and different stats and stuff like that. Fantastic reward. Making that the thing that you get for actually completing Grandmaster Nightfalls is a
Mhm.
perfect way to get people not just to play that Grandmaster Nightfall once, but to farm it for the perfect role. We've
Mhm.
always said here, you put decent loot behind an activity, people will flock to it. People will go and play that activity. It's the same thing that, in my opinion, has proven to be such a great success with the Legend Lost Sectors this
Oh
season.
yeah.
I do those in my free time. I go and run that 1250 in my free time to get high rolled exotics, and I cannot wait for this to happen with the Grandmasters next season. It's good stuff. This is
Heck yeah.
exactly what we needed.
So, and it's impressive too because they're adding Destiny 1 weapons in
Yes.
to specifically the Nightfall, which those
Yeah.
were all Vanguard weapons that I think, right?
I think
Palin
Palindrome was
went
Crucible.
Crucible.
I
Yeah,
want to
that
say
one was Crucible.
the other two were Vanguard.
Yeah, it had that orange and blue color
It was
scheme to it.
ugly.
Yeah,
It was real ugly.
it did not look great. But yeah, but historically, like its historic importance in the game
Yes.
is wonderful. And so them adding these weapons in, what other weapons do you think that they could add in seasons after this, specifically from D1, that you would like to see in like a Grandmaster Nightfall loot
If
pool?
they were going to continue along this trend and add in weapons from D1, specifically weapons from D1 as rewards from these Grandmasters, which I think is a fantastic idea. I
Mm-hmm.
think after this, we'd probably see something like Hung Jury pop its way into there, and
Yeah.
then maybe the devil you know.
So you say hung jury, but I also think of like some of the weapons that we got from those oh, I keep wanting to say foundries. But like, yeah,
The factions,
yeah,
yeah,
from those
yeah,
factions.
Warpath, Wormwood, any of
Yeah.
those. Like there's such a huge vault of weapons that are still in D1 that have never gotten any sort of D2 counterpart that they could pull from.
Yeah.
There's tons of classic weapons they could grab.
Yeah. So
I'd
I,
love it though.
I like this a lot. And like
Yeah, yeah.
adept versions, adept versions of weapons are just cool as hell anyway. At least they were
Good
in
idea.
Destiny 1, and I can only hope that they'd improve on that system in Destiny 2.
Yeah, and I mean, this is exactly what Grandmaster Nightfalls needed. They needed a better reason to run them than just the occasional bonus upgrade materials. Especially now that you can get those from like running lost sectors and all that kind of stuff. I think Bungie should expand upon that even further. I think they should make it so that you have even more options to get upgrade materials by running other stuff like strikes and crucible games and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
nonsense. In addition to what you can get by having the ghost perk that allows you to get upgrade materials from that kind of stuff. But I'm very happy about this. It's actually going to get me to run a Grandmaster in Season 13.
Yeah.
Especially since the Nightfalls that are coming, well, not Nightfalls, but the strikes that are coming back in Season 13 are going to be Fallen Saber and the Devil's Lair. So we're going to be
Yeah.
taking on Sepix Prime, baby. I'll do that in the Grandmaster. I'm psyched for it.
It's just gonna be one giant barrier servitor.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Never. Can I take that back? Can I roll the tape back on that? I don't want Sepix to be a champion.
Oh,
He's big enough. He doesn't need a bubble.
that
He
would be
doesn't need to be a
hilarious
bubble boy.
though.
Oh no. Oh man, just imagining how they, because we saw how they changed the Omnigul fight.
Yeah.
I love the Omnigul strike. The Disgraced in D2 is one of my favorite strikes. I'll happily run it. 50% because of nostalgia and 50% because it's just a really well done strike. It was a great strike in D1. It's a great strike in D2. I'm trying to imagine how they could make the Sepix fight, or whoever's going to be the boss in that strike, a nightmare. And the only thing I can think of is just, you remember when you go through the door
Uh-huh.
to face Sepix, and like to your left was that little hidey hole you could go to, and then you could go
Yeah.
downstairs and hide. There's enemy spawn points in there. What if they just shove as many overload captains as they can in the Nightfall version? Oh, you wanted to hide here? Is that
Oh.
what you thought you were going to do? Mm.
Well, and that was what was kind of like impressive about the Glassway strike when you first ran it. Like,
Yeah.
what were your impressions of that strike? Like at the start.
I thought it was a well-made strike. I enjoyed the area that it takes place in, but I really like the final boss encounter there, where you kind of go in and then there's central spawn points. So it's like you're not going to have any surprise overload champions popping up behind you. You have the main spawn point for the boss, that weird Ultra Hydra, who I'm not even sure you actually have to kill, but he has boss health, so I kill him every time I run the strike anyway.
I think you do. I think you do in order to progress it, right? But
Is that what it is?
I think so.
I kill him every time I run the strike, but I didn't know like if he had a point. If so, I like that. I like that it's not just killing one big boss. There's another boss that has some other kind of mechanic tied to him. And I like the way that fight generally kind of floods you, because I think because they don't have multiple spawn points behind you in that fight. That's why in the Nightfall versions, it just floods you with enemies by the time you get to phase 3 of that fight, because it's like, all right, you know where they're coming from. Get ready to fight. Clench them cheeks. I like it. I like the Glassway strike. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. My favorite thing that they did with it was like when you were lower light, it felt like they were just on you.
It was tough.
They would go into the crevices if you were trying to hide, and they would seek you out and they would eradicate you. And so that was kind of a refreshing difficulty in a way.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that aspect of it when I ran it with friends. And then looking at like thinking of some of the things that they can do, especially with the new strikes that they're bringing in based on what we've seen from the Omnigul refresh strike. I fine. Yeah. Come and like invade. Like make it so that it's a constant push and pull rather than me hiding behind a set of like blocks for a while and
just plinking away at boss health.
Which is what Sepix eventually became to a certain degree.
If you didn't have Gjallarhorns at the ready to just blow through his health and then catch the captains when they were coming out for like the Sifa version of him to break the shield.
Yeah.
I miss that too. It just sit back in the room and plink away. All right, hide.
Yeah.
Plink away, hide. Yeah, you're right. The Glassway strike is a bit more kinetic than that. And dude, you got me thinking about the first time I ran through that strike during the story. You're right. It was hard.
Yeah.
That was a rough fight. It was good. I like that. I like that sort of feel.
I had a lot of giggles because it was just like it was kicking our ass, and I was like, I'm having a blast. This is real freaking weird. Good. I'm using anarchy on it, and it's not really affecting it all that much, which is a weird thing for me to feel.
Good stuff. I want more challenges like that.
Same.
I like it a lot.
Heck yeah. So they also talk about how the we want to make sure that players have a way to earn all power relevant weaponry in the live game. If a group of new Guardians is just getting into Grandmaster Nightfalls and they see guides on YouTube involving Warmind cells, we need to provide a path for them to participate. In Season 13, we will continue to allow all players to gain Season 11 and 12 weapons in the world drop pool, while Season 10 weapons will be obtainable through more prescriptive sources. This means that legendary engrams will no longer reward these soon-to-expire weapons. If you want to chase a specific piece of soon-to-be-capped loot, you'll find it in the gunsmith. This is all part...
Change.
Yeah. That's a great change. This is all part of our larger commitment of making sure that players can always earn anything they might need to take on challenging activities. That said, this will require a few exceptions and some updates to the live game. With that being said, they made a change in the TWAB this week. I want to say they took out the True Prophecy.
They did, for no discernible reason. This one hand cannon that has really been getting a lot of screen time as of late, as it was one of the few 120s you could earn. Because I think the only other two 120s you can earn right now are Iron Banner hand cannons, which interesting timing on that. And you can get some really good rolls of True Pop or Prophecy. Something like Overflow and Rampage is really good on that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people were getting excited about it, and then they noticed after the hot fix this week, suddenly they weren't getting any more True Prophecy drops. Well, turns out that's on purpose. They took it out of the loot pool for no reason.
Yeah, this two sentence little bullet point. True Prophecy has been removed from the loot pool. This is intentional.
Oof. I don't know why. I don't know why they did that when right now I think the only other 120s that you can earn are, at least legendary 120s, are the Steady Hand and like whatever the other Iron Banner hand cannon is, Criminal's Dagger or something like that. And it's like that's not going to be around forever. Why are you removing this?
Yeah.
Wasn't hurting anybody. As a matter of fact, people were actually really liking that weapon.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting real excited about it.
Was it that it was like overpowering the meta? Like, or I don't pay attention. I haven't paid attention the past couple of weeks when I've been playing Crucible to see what's been killing me. I've just been like, this is fine.
I mean, Crucible is such a wacky, wild experience right now.
It's mostly abilities, and you go from there.
Yeah. I'm taking a look at like light.gg to see what the hottest used items are right now, and I'm not seeing True Prophecy on there at all. Let me head over to Destiny Tracker and try that one too. I've definitely seen it a lot in PvP, but nowhere near as much as like problem children like the Mountaintop or whatever in previous seasons. Yeah, I don't think it was causing any problems.
Unless it did and they caught it before.
Oh no. I mean, I do believe those 120s are capable of two-tapping with certain rolls, so maybe Overflow Rampage was just a little bit too powerful for Bungie's taste. But yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, so like I feel like that is also an example of this. That said, this will require a few exceptions and some updates to the live game. That last sentence and True Prophecy kind of like go hand in hand to me. I don't know.
Rest in peace, my baby.
Yeah.
I got one before it was taken out of the loot pool. I've got my Overflow Rampage roll. I'm good.
Congratulations. So they said as far as exceptions, we don't plan on adding methods for players to acquire holiday weapons like the Braid Tech Werewolf outside of participating in those yearly celebrations. You'll get it again next year, kids.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. For updates, this does mean in Season 13 we will be adding limited time quest weapons like Fellwinter's Lie, Whisper of the Worm, and Outbreak Perfected to the exotic kiosk in the tower.
That's fantastic news. That's fantastic news. There are a lot of people who missed out on weapons like Fellwinter's Lie, and good lord, on live streams, I get no end of questions of, hey, is Fellwinter's back yet? Is it coming back? There was some speculation that it was going to be a part of this Iron Banner. I don't know where that speculation came from, but I'm glad Bungie finally put out there officially that Fellwinter's Lie is going to be purchasable at the exotic kiosk. I think they said starting next season, which is good because it's a busted shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best things in the game for PvP.
That I do keep seeing over and over again, murdering me.
It's basically the best PvP shotgun you could possibly have.
Yeah.
It has every perk and stat that it needs to be as offensive in PvP as it can be.
What else here? So we have, they talk about how in this, the quality and quantity portion of this dev update, they said after covering things we'd like to change, I want to spend some time talking about what must stay the same. Destiny is a game built on exciting rewards, from
Yeah.
Bastion to Ikelos SMG volume or version 1.02 to Fallen Guillotine. The rewards over the last 12 months have continued to evolve the way Guardians play the game. I think based on the quality of those weapons, right? Like
Yeah.
we keep getting really like powerful
Good
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Beyond Light, I believe the rewards team nailed it again with incredible new legendary perks like Recombination, Thresh, Chain Reaction, and Reconstruction. All wonderful on the raid weapons if you get a shot to go in there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Alongside these perks came what I believe is one of the best lineups of exotic weapons and armor in Destiny history. I arguably the same, and also the best way to earn them in Destiny to date.
Yeah.
Skipping ahead to the final paragraph in that, there's no way for us to make more rewards at Destiny standards and still maintain the health of our current team. Therefore, we're going to reinforce the rewards team with more talent that will allow us to deliver quality and quantity in the future. Molding someone new into a master Destiny gunsmith takes time. This isn't going to be a change that the community will feel next week, but it does put our best foot forward as we step towards the Witch Queen and Lightfall.
Yes. Very yes. That last statement there, basically saying, "Hey, we want to." It shows that they want to commit to making more rewards for players in Destiny. So rather than just saying, "Hey, look, our team's not big enough to to continue making more rewards for you guys, so we're just gonna have to deal with what we've got." They say, "No, we're gonna be expanding the size of the team that makes those rewards, so that we can keep up a level of commitment that they've promised to here." And I think that's great. That's fantastic news. It's more loot is always a good sign in a game like Destiny, and it makes me really excited to see what's going to be happening in upcoming seasons. Even if this new dev team, because we know it's going to be a lot of new people on there. Let's say they have a training wheel season or two, where rather than creating a bunch of brand new weapons, they just bring in a bunch of classics from D1. I am A-okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm 100% okay with it. There are plenty of weapons in D1 that had unique models, unique abilities, unique traits that I think could stand to be brought back in Destiny 2. And I think I would look forward to it.
Do you think the return of the 3 items that we're getting this next season are kind of part of that training wheel process? Yeah. If you can hear his head rattle on the podcast.
Very. I think that might be. I think there might be a chance that that's the case here.
Yeah.
And it's and that's fine. They can bank on a little bit of nostalgia here while they work with a new team to bring back weapons and armor. They've got a lot of goodwill on the old nostalgia stuff. I mean, shoot, we're about to have a season where Sepix Prime, Fallen Saber are coming back. Shadow Price, the Palindrome, the Swarm are coming back. We don't know if it's going to be this season, but sometime this year, Vault of Glass is going to be coming back.
Right.
Probably with some weapons that are at least familiar to players in one way or another. I think it's perfectly fine at this point in the game to rely a bit on D1 classic stuff. I think that's perfectly fine. It's not like we don't have new gear to play with and whatnot. The raid weapons, like you said before, are fantastic.
Yeah.
They are fantastic, and they have some really fantastic perks that you can only get in the raid. I think that's great. I wouldn't mind, but I wouldn't mind them bringing back some classic stuff too.
Reconstruction, man, or not?
It's good.
Yeah. Wait, it's not Reconstruction. What was it?
Redirection.
Oh no, Reconstruction is great. Like it's like Overflow and
Yep. Auto loading
all in one. I got that and Dragonfly on the LMG.
Oh man.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
That LMG is what scout rifles wish they were. And that makes me both sad and incredibly happy. Because it's good, dude. And like Recombination it's like the successor to D1 Year 1 Field Scout, which got destroyed right before the Taken King and has been finally avenged with Recombination, which gives you like over 100 rounds in the mag,
Yeah.
when it comes to the raid LMG, and it's a hammerhead type LMG. That's a significant amount of bullets. It's good.
Yeah. I love
Redirection's great too. That's the one that gives you bonus damage for like killing red bars.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Let's see here. So they not only talk about that, they talk about preheating the oven. Increasing the reward team size is one of our long-term initiatives, but it is not the only upgrade to our gear rotation plan that we want to get in the oven. We envision a better solution for how armor intersects with infusion caps. The personality of armor comes from mods right now, so gaining a new piece of armor often means just trying to find a piece of armor that replicates the stat allocation you already have on a piece in your vault. While we are not ready to talk concretely about armor plans right now, we do want to get more gameplay novelty on armor itself, so that looting a piece of armor in a new season has the potential to change the way you play.
Yeah.
Which they kind of tried to do with that 5th mod slot, right?
Right.
So
And
Armor 3.0.
Armor 3.0 inbound at some point in time. You know, there really wasn't much to pull away from that particular section, other than to break it down to say transmog's coming. We're still working on it. I still have no real idea how they're really going to implement all of that here in D2. But they're right in that the armor game right now is literally just chasing stats.
Mm-hmm.
When I get armor drops, I look at it. If it's below 63, trash.
Out
Just
with the
out.
old. Mm-hmm. You don't
Off
need
it
it.
out. It does you no favors.
Especially if it's raid armor too, because then it's like,
why? Why does raid armor drop anything under 60?
You were the chosen one.
You're meant to destroy the bad stat rolls, not join them.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think in-game gear, so stuff like that you get from Nightfalls, from Trials, from raids, should not drop below 60.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, Iron Banner is like the homie when it comes to giving you high stat rolls. Saladin just throws 67s at me. And
Yeah.
I don't know why the raid would be any different.
Yeah. Outside of that, we have just a few things here. Like they did like they gave us all that information, and then they're like, but here's this jab, and like it was awesome. So transmog will be coming in season 14. More details to come. So this is the work in progress view. If you're watching stream, you're able to see it. Like they have the armor pieces over on the left hand side of what it will look like, or what it is, and it has the seasonal emblem up in the upper left hand corner. Then the second item is what the shader is, and the third item in that overview is what it looks like, right?
Right.
So that's fairly cool. And then they go into a breakdown of, okay, so if you're looking into the chest, here's all your options for the shaders in there, and give you a big view of your Guardian just to check it out. I have a feeling Nimplays is going to have a blast with this function.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to see that they're continuing work on the transmog system. It looks like that's going to be a bit easier to customize your the look of your Guardian than it is right now, you know, where you've got to go and like individually look at a shader on each piece of gear. I like that they have it all together there. And while that is, you know, a work in progress sort of screen, hopefully it works out something like that whenever transmog drops in season 14.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I definitely have a way that I want my hunter to look, and that I want my characters to look at this point in the game. And unless a piece of armor really wows me with like its pauldrons or something, then I'm going to want to stick to that same look. So the ability to set it up where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to throw this gear on and this is what it's going to look like. Kind of like, so I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077, and there's a mission. For most of that game, you look like a trash panda. Like, pure and simple. You look like
fair.
You're just out there scavenging around like a raccoon, putting on whatever is going to give you the most the most armor. But there is like a slot that says you can like just it puts on like a total suit for you, right? So it locks in those armor pieces when you do that, but it gives you an appearance. This will kind of work the opposite way. It'll give you an appearance, but not lock the armor, it seems. But I'm really excited for it. This will be my first shot at transmog, I guess, in an MMO RPG. So.
Yeah, as a big MMO guy, shoot, I was just on Final Fantasy 14 earlier today before I hopped onto this, and that has a vast transmog system where you can like save individual sets of appearances and then just kind of dump them on whatever armor you want. So you don't have to go picking specific things. You can just say, let me grab this appearance set and put it on. And Monster Hunter World does that as well. So I'm very much looking forward to it because you're right. Like most people wind up getting a very specific look for their personal guardian. I was playing with our buddy Nim earlier this week. We were doing the raid, and I had to comment that his Titan is completely devoid of light. He has a very specific look for his Titan. It is the darkest colors you could possibly imagine, with like the ornaments for the old Trials of the Nine set. It looks great. It's a great look for him. And he's like, yeah, this is what I try to always look like with my Titan. And that's the way it is with most people. They have a specific look they want to go for. And it'll be very nice to finally be able to efficiently do that when transmog is a thing. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Heck yeah. DDoS protection for Destiny 2 players on all consoles
That's
will be coming in
huge.
September 13. This past week, we also saw the current gen consoles, I guess you could say, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. They got FOV sliders and frame rate stabilization at around 60 FPS. So congratulations to you who have it. PlayStation folks, I'm very sorry about your comm system. It is trash.
Bad. Holy moly. PlayStation Party is bad. It's just a bad system.
And on top of the roster bug that's going on in Destiny 2 right now, it is just pain.
Awful.
I had to help. I was helping people with PvE activities today, and it was like, this is a bridge too far. It makes me not want to play on console to like have to deal with all of these roadblocks. But anyways, I digress.
Pretty awful.
Yeah. The Vault of Glass raid returns sometime.
Sometime.
Crossplay is coming in 2021. That is huge.
Huge news.
Yeah.
We knew that was going to be coming after they after they announced intergenerational play between PS4 and PS5 and Xbox One and the Series S and Series X. And I cannot wait to be able to raid with my X bros and my PS4 and PS5 bros sometime in the future.
How would you think it would work?
I play a lot of Call of Duty, and Call of Duty has cross-platform play, and basically the way it is you opt into it. You can select whether or not you want to be able to play with people on a different platform or on a console or anything like that. And it'll generally, when you're playing PvP, it'll lump you in with other people who have that exact same setting toggled, and it'll try to match you based on your input. So if you're playing if you're on PC and you're playing with a controller and you've got crossplay enabled, it'll match you with other people who are playing with controller. If you're on PC and you're playing with mouse and keyboard and you tick that option, it's going to put you with people on console who are playing with mouse and keyboard as well. So that's how I'd imagine it would work for the for the Crucible. For PvE stuff, I think it'll just be normal. It'll be like just like it is right now, where you just go into if you go into a strike and it just matches you with other people who are online. Then I don't think there's going to be too many problems at all with that.
But if you're like meaning to meet up with people, say you have like your PlayStation friends list, your Xbox friends list, and your Steam friends list.
Yeah,
like
that's going to be weird.
That could be very tricky.
Yeah,
I would think that they would have to install like the Bungie system.
A Bungie account.
Yeah, like your Bungie account would have to then add like friends and everything like that, which I think there's a cap on that.
Yeah, there is. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
But that's how Call of Duty does it.
Yeah.
You tie either your Xbox or your PlayStation or your Blizzard account to an Activision account, and it's your Activision account that actually lets you match up with people on different platforms.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it had to be something like that, and like I don't think Bungie's gonna allow you to have infinite friends. Who knows?
Just allow me to have infinite friends, Bungie.
It's been our goal in life, since humanity crawled out of the waters. Have infinite friends.
Just allow me to have infinite friends. That's what I want at the end of the day.
But yeah, I'd imagine it's going to be something like that.
Yeah. When do you think this will come? A few folks, I think Zeralius from the Planet Destiny team talked about it possibly being in April when there's like maybe a doldrum.
Yes.
I'm thinking more along the lines of like August when we saw like cross save.
I was going to say, when is Witch Queen dropping? That'll be when it happens.
Yeah.
That's probably because Witch Queen is next year, right? It's 2021.
Yes.
Shoot for Witch Queen.
Yeah.
That's the safe safe betting day.
If they do it like cross save like last season, Bungie has a cycle and we kind of see the same things happen on that cycle, right? Like Armor 2.0, the cross save, like Weapons 2.0, these things all happened a little bit before we got like major releases. I think in order to kind of make sure that they worked before those releases went out.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't surprise me if we got crossplay in August so that they had like a month to work out the kinks, month or two, depending on if they push back release. And like
happen.
That's a thing that we're going to have to think about. I think I don't think you can expect Bungie to put something out in September next year without maybe some looming ghost of delay. So it's possible that we'd see that in August just to kind of prepare, but I don't know.
That's the date I would put my bets on.
Yeah.
Just sometime around the Witch Queen release.
Yeah. Two Strikes, Fallen Saber, and Devil's Lair are coming to Destiny 2 in Season 13. We discussed that already. And then we have Legendary and Master Lost Sector rotation will be expanded to include the Lost Sectors on the Moon in Season 13, and there will be 3 new pieces of exotic armor to chase.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Heck yeah. Big save.
I like the Legend Lost Sector system. I think it's a fantastic in-game grind for people who just want to kind of go solo and take their time with certain things. It's what I do in my free time. I just load up. All right, where's the Lost Sector today? All right, it's in the Cosmodrome. Let me hop over onto Warlock and start farming that. I think it's a great idea, and I'm happy to see Bungie expand on it.
Heck yeah, absolutely,
definitely.
I just I don't know. Like, I want a reason to go back to the moon. That's not just doing that dungeon over and over. And even then, there's not really a reason to do that. Even to the point where the nightmare hunts are, I think you can farm champions there when a quest needs it. But other than that, they're not really good for anything because they're light level at this point.
Yeah. The only reason to run the moon dungeon is for upgrade materials.
Yep.
That dump that you get at the end.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And that bums me out. I think there should be more to it than that.
Yeah. If they could consistently keep those on par, keep the dungeons on par with the raid material. Like, I think raid in-game materials and dungeon in-game materials should constantly be floating at where our light level is, because or where our light level is hoped, because that is in-game activity. That is something that you want to, like, that it's an aspirational kind of thing. So
I dig that.
Yeah. Oh man, what if the legendary dungeons? Just think about it.
Ooh.
I'll
I'll do it, but you better have buku rewards in there, Bungie. It better be a bunch of stuff.
Anyways, do you want to talk about the Dawning next, or this?
I mean,
or we could talk about Hawkmoon.
We kind of have to blow through both of them because we still need to talk about Hawkmoon before we end this show.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dawning, we don't really know too much outside of it's going to be similar to last year. It's starting off this coming week on Tuesday Reset. It is going to do the same thing that it has done in previous years. You're going to get an oven from Ava Levante. You go around, you kill enemies, you do silly things like get sword kills and art kills and whatnot to gather up ingredients, and you use those ingredients to bake cookies and treats that I assume you'll be turning into Ava. I think they mentioned that in the article.
Yeah.
You'll be turning it into her to raise your reputation with her. And there's actually going to be an interesting sort of community challenge that's tied to this. After we as a community turn so many packages of sweet treats to Ava, she's actually going to increase the rewards that she's giving to us and add in stuff like bonus upgrade materials and whatnot, which I think is fine. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Any new dump, any new faucet for upgrade mats is always welcome in my book.
Mm-hmm.
As usual, the tower is going to be dressed up real nice. It's going to be nice and pretty and dawning themed. There's going to be a new armor set in Eververse. We got to see that with the game to give charity last week for all three of the classes. You're going to have a new exotic ship that I think is part of a quest line from Ava.
Yeah.
There's a sparrow. There's a bunch of new ghosts.
Yeah.
Oh,
with the ship, you can change the trail.
the trails. You can upgrade and customize it, which I think is neat. I'm glad that Bungie's playing around with that sort of thing. And believe me, if they're doing it with the Dawning here, they're testing something for future release.
More
and I think that's cool. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. We also have
the
rental, the glacioclasm.
Yes. I like that you called it the air until.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is.
It is. It is. It's the air until, but with a festive new coat of paint thrown on. Oh my gosh, I hope. I don't know if it's been data mined yet. I hope it's got the same stats as the air until, just so that Aura has to farm it.
Yeah.
Can you guys imagine? Aura has to throw on a Santa Claus suit and go deliver cookies to people around Destiny so that he can get a proper roll of this thing. There's nothing more that I want than that.
Co-host Nim Plays in chat says, it's the Aaron chill.
I'll allow it.
Chef's kiss.
Okay. Okay, that works for today, Nim.
I do have to say, though, I hate to be Scrooge.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike how every single Dawning event has looked. I do not enjoy how. Do you know? So, you remember that Fred Claus movie?
Yes. Yeah.
All of it looks like Fred Claus to me. When we all know that the top tier Santa Claus movie is the Santa Claus, right?
It is the Santa Claus.
Right.
That's correct.
So
that's an objective statement.
Yeah. I'm not a Fred Claus guy. I wish I was. And
you're more of a Santa Claus guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Even with that maybe not that Jack Frost one. That Jack Frost one was kind of horseshit, but
never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's the Santa Claus and the Santa Claus 2. I don't know I don't know what you're talking about with the Jack Frost thing. That doesn't seem to ring any bells with me at all.
It definitely didn't have Martin Short in it.
It definitely didn't. As a matter of fact, I don't think Martin Short actually exists.
Nope.
I don't think he's a real person.
He's definitely not friends with Steve Martin.
No. Never happened.
The only thing that I really like about this, and I'm showing it on screen right now, is the ghost that looks like it's a candle.
Yeah.
It kind of murders my heart a little bit. It's pretty great.
I dig that one. I like it. Yeah.
I like it a lot. But other than that,
it looks pretty good.
No offense to any of the designers for the Dawning. I see it and I don't want it.
What happened then? Well, in the tower, they say that Dan's small heart shrank 3 sizes that day.
Yep. I'll do strikes. I'll do strikes without picking up anything from Ava. I'm fine with it.
Dig that. But yeah, that's the Dawning. There's not really any crazy news to talk about there. So
yeah. So other than that, we have the TWAB this week that just kind of touched on a lot of these things. We also have the companion app. Have you used that yet?
I have not. Have you?
I have. It took some doing for me to do that, but it updated on Tuesday. I wasn't able to use it all that day. I ended up having to delete the app off my phone and then put it back on in order for it to like connect and start working. But once it did, chef's kiss, dude. It is so good. Like Jenny Jenny says that I'm on my phone more now. Probably true. But like I'm just grabbing bounties. It's fine. I'm just getting ready for the next time, hun. It's fine. It's okay. And then I blow through them on my next session.
Yeah.
So, yep. Just
I
waste
haven't.
night armor.
I'm logging into it right now on my
Yeah.
phone, and I haven't because I have it. I just haven't used it since the update. So it works real well.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So if you just keep getting spinny yellow circles, maybe try like signing out and signing back in, or taking it off your phone and putting it back on. But it's
Uninstalling and reinstalling it.
uninstalling and reinstalling. Oh my god. Anyways, I think I need more water. But yeah, it's quite wonderful.
Stuff.
I want it to hit the third party apps as soon as possible, so I don't have to keep using the companion app. But it's very nice.
Go back to Dim.
Yeah, which Dim already talked about, like how they'd have like a I think they had a mock-up of bounties that would work well together, like synergy bounties. So
that's awesome.
That's
so helpful.
Yeah.
I don't have to go talk to anybody. I just look here. Oh, okay. So let's get all these. Yeah. There we go. So optimization. I like it.
Yeah. Outside of that, so Hawkmoon. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's blow through that guy.
Before that,
okay,
there was one bit of news that I wanted to mention, and it's that Shadebinders. We got our melee back, at least 37% of it back, which is, who knows how long the range on that thing is going to be. I find it funny that Bungie nerfed Shadebinder melee, and told us exactly what the range on it was going to be. It took it from 26, 28 meters down to 16 meters.
Yeah.
But then when they rebuff it, they're like, they don't just tell us what the meter is going to be. They just say, we buffed it by 37%. Well, 37% of what? Of the previous nerf? Of what its range is now? What is the distance going to be? I wish they would have been a bit more clear about that, but I'm happy. I am happy to see that melee is getting a little bit of its range back, because I think after the stasis changes to how long people stayed frozen in Crucible, after they made those changes, the Warlock melee range was fine being where it was before. So, real happy about it.
So they have that. We have Hawkmoon. There was another change. So they have raised over $1 million.
Yeah.
For Bungie games to give. Congratulations to the community on that. There was what was it? PS4 friends list update. This is what I had to deal with today.
Yeah.
So they discovered that the issue only affects people who have a roster of more than 100 friends. And the issue has been resolved, but after further testing, we discovered another issue affecting how online friends are displayed. So the issue will be fixed this coming Tuesday in hotfix 3.0.1.2. which I think also fixes Xbox Series X and S's freezing issue labeled right underneath it. So
yay!
So
PlayStation always causing problems.
Xur also sold Vesper of Radius after that,
which is disabled right now
at this point in time. So look forward to that.
Grinch Bungie.
Yeah, that fix is aimed for December 17th. They are rolling through these fixes relatively quickly.
Got to push them out before Christmas, man. They got a 3-week break, I think, after that. So they got to get it done, and they are absolutely on it.
Yeah,
they have been on it.
So
it's good stuff.
I think now we can talk about Hawkmoon.
Now that we're at the very end of the show, we can kind of blow through the Hawkman Quest. So I think both of us have it, right?
Yes.
Have you gotten it?
I did get it. What was your favorite part? I think I might know. And what was possibly your least favorite part of doing the Hawkman Quest?
So my favorite part was the quest at not the last quest, but the second to last quest before the champion step, where you're going through and you find the crow's room and you're rummaging through his stuff. There's a lot of lore scannables in there where he just sits back and he has a conversation with you about what life was like when he first woke up. People hated him. Some people tried to kill him, and so whenever he was around other Guardians, he kept his mask on and helmet on for a while. You get to see that he has like a little makeshift toilet. That's a mop bucket and some toilet paper. I wish Oro were here because we'd finally be able to get hard confirmation Guardians can poop.
We already have that though. There is a bathroom on Europa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in our apartment.
And Elsie's little her little camp.
Our little bungalow. There's a little
that we furnished for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a douche chute there. And I hope she lets us use it since we're basically property brothersing her her entire pad there. We knock out a wall here, it's going to be entirely open concept. It's going to be beautiful. So much natural light here on Europa.
I'm going to throw a Tanix head over there that way he has a house.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
His house is just your house now. Yeah, okay, so fantastic. But I'd say that was my favorite moment. I liked going through that quest where you're following the feathers and the bird and all that kind of stuff. And just hearing about that kind of the life experiences of Crow, who's been really a fantastically written character in a really remarkably short amount of time. The season of the Hunt just started a few weeks ago, and he's already become one of the better written characters.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign about Destiny.
I think they're really endearing you to him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're definitely doing, like, a rush job on making him likable, which possibly could lead to some larger ramifications down the line, especially when it comes to things like the Vanguard Dare. So
I want to say something, but it's spoilers for a lore piece that hasn't officially come out yet.
Okay.
But you're on an interesting track,
yes.
I'll say. But yeah, I'd say that was my favorite part. Okay. That was my favorite part. My least favorite part was probably the go get 34 champion kills or 200 guardian kills part.
Yeah.
Didn't take long. I just went into the Nightfall and farmed champions. So it took me like maybe 30, 40 minutes, but
I didn't forgetting that you don't have to go into the Nightfall in order to kill champions all the time. You can do it literally anywhere. You could do it in the legendary lost sectors. You could do it during the Empire hunts on certain difficulties. You can do it anywhere.
Yes.
Just freaking
anywhere.
anywhere.
They're everywhere. Those guys are everywhere. I think like 8 or 9 runs of the 1250 lost sector gets that done. For me, since the Nightfall was inverted spire.
Yeah.
This week, the first darkness zone in there. So literally right after you start the strike, if you're on 1250, it has 4.
Yeah.
4 champions. One of them's a gigantic dick, by the way. Screw you, Barrier Colossus. I was just jumping across the gap. I hadn't even shot anybody yet. But it's a really fast farm. Just go in there, wipe all 4 of them, jump off the cliff, and it'll respawn you right there with all 4 of them back alive. So I just did that for about, like I said, 30 minutes and got it done.
And this did coincide with Iron Banner. So the 200 Guardian kills, depending on how masochistic you are, like could have been done during that.
Also live, you could have just done that.
I couldn't be bothered.
So, yeah, that was a lot of nonsense. I just went and did champions.
Yeah, just did champions. It was fine.
So how about you? What did you like? What did you dislike?
I kind of liked the last mission quite a bit.
It was good.
I felt like there was enough difficulty there. I will say, sometimes when I would get turned around in there, and I didn't realize that I was looking for light crows or light birds the entire time. And like somebody would be like, just go to the bird. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
What bird?
What bird? And then you hear, and then oh,
there he is.
That one. And so
it was the second time you go through there, it takes you on an alternate path, and it's like I had no idea what I was looking for until I finally realized, oh, the bird's over there. I guess I'm just trying to get over there.
Yeah, but I felt the last room had like a lot of like enough difficulty if you were going in as like a solo guardian.
It's good stuff.
Good.
And slight spoilers. Well, I'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
So you completed the quest. You got your Hawkmoon. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the classic from D1?
I put it away and haven't paid. I just went and got the thing. I know. It's I know it's farmable, which is
Yes,
interesting for an exotic, and we talked about it on Tuesday
very.
when that was a thing. So, do you what are your thoughts on a random rolled exotic?
I think it's a very interesting prospect for future stuff. Overall, I think Hawkmoon is a great hand cannon. Statistically, it's one of, if not the best hand cannon in the game in terms of 140s. It is sticky, it's got super high aim assist,
Mm-hmm.
its recoil direction is almost completely vertical, meaning it's going to snap up and then right back down to the position it was. So, with like a hand cannon tracker or two and like one of the unflinching mods, that thing is a laser beam. Just as a pure hand cannon, it is one of the best performers and definitely I think the best feeling hand cannon in the game. Beyond that, its exotic a perk is interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but not overly useful because of course its exotic perk revolves around you getting headshots or getting kills with the weapon to build up stacks of paracausal shot, which get spent on the very last round of the magazine. Meaning you only get the benefit of Hawkman's exotic perk on one shot every magazine.
Right.
And so if you whiff shots before that one shot, you don't really get much of a benefit. If you whiff that last shot, you don't get much of a benefit. Paracausal shot is really powerful. In PvE, it gives you exponentially increased damage.
Mm-hmm.
Taking it from like dealing 3,900 damage a shot against on level yellow bar enemies to like over 70,000. You can one shot a lot of things with it, but when it comes to the utility of the gun,
Mm-hmm.
it, it's not really going to be enough to warrant taking off your lament or your anarchy. It's like having an Izanagi, but in a hand cannon,
Okay.
but you can only use it once every 8 shots, and only if you landed all 7 headshots or got 7 kills, which is a little bit it's a little bit odd. Good hand cannon,
Yeah.
interesting ability. I think what's far more interesting about it is what you were talking about at the start of my little rant here. The fact that Hawkmoon is going to be capable of getting random rolls in the future. If you got it this week for the initial quest, it's got a perk called Transformative, which
Mm-hmm.
tells you in future weeks you're going to be able to farm this thing for random rolls. That is really interesting
Yeah.
for a weapon like Hawkmoon. With a weapon that's got the stats like Hawkmoon, you can actually go into database websites like light.gg and
Mm-hmm.
look at Hawkmoon to see what its potential roles are. This thing is going to get the opportunity to get stuff like Surplus. Surplus in Killing Wind on a gun with stats as high as Hawkmoon's is going to take it from being one of the best feeling hand cannons in the game to being the best overall hand cannon in the game, even with an exotic ability that doesn't quite stack up to guns like Crimson or Ace of Spades or Thorn out there. I think the prospect of that is really interesting, and I want to see Bungie expand on it in the future. I don't want Hawkmoon to be the only exotic that gets randomized rolls. They could bring something like the Invective back from D1 and then do this same sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just a really interesting prospect there. The potential to get exotic weapons which have their own unique abilities and traits on them, but then also have the chance to get randomized abilities like a different barrel, a different scope, a different muzzle, or a different side perk like Killing Wind, Surplus, Wellspring, any of these really powerful perks that were introduced with Beyond Light. It's good stuff, man. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
It adds an interesting future, I think,
Yeah,
to possibly the depth of the loot pool. We were talking about it, and some people in my chat didn't enjoy the fact they didn't enjoy the idea of randomly rolled exotics because it's kind of like once you got the thing, it should be the thing, right? Especially like if it were in
right.
trials situations or competitive situations where you can control and kind of lock out different weapons. Um, or like in scrims, that kind of thing. I kind of look at it as a Borderlandsy
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
Which even if it's just for this weapon, which like I think somebody had pointed back to Luke Smith saying that they wanted to add some of the randomness back into it, um,
right.
that it had initially, and like Maximus in chat is pointing back to that as well. Um, I still think that it's an intriguing idea. and maybe
I think it's
like
interesting.
yeah, like maybe not make the randomness that in depth as like if you were to get a weapon from like Borderlands, because Borderlands you can have like an add-on that turns hamburgers into heat-seeking missiles, and then you can eat that hamburger and fart out an
Delicious.
explosion. And with this, I would like if it were like one tree, and you could get different perks on it. I think that's interesting.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an interesting prospect for the future of exotics. And I don't think they're going to do this with all exotics.
Yeah.
I think for right now, it'll just be Hawkmoon. They might continue adding exotics into the game that have the capability of doing this, but I don't think it's going to be a widespread thing.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly interested in seeing how they're going to pull that off. And for those who were wondering how you're going to get these random world versions of Hawkmoon, is it like just going to be a random world drop or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we actually might have figured that out as well, thanks to some odd glitches that have happened during playtime. It's interesting that you mentioned that you really liked the last mission for
Yeah.
Hawkmoon.
Yeah.
Well, that's
difficult
good.
enough.
Spoiler alert for everybody who might not have heard any of this. Plug your virgin ears now.
You got
You're
30
going to be doing
seconds.
that mission. You're going to be doing that mission again. That mission is going to be coming back in a match-made 1250 version that you'll be able to run with champions and modifiers and all that kind of stuff.
Match
much
made?
like the Legend Lost Sectors. I think it's match-made. I think
easy.
it
Like the Empire
if
runs.
it's not match-made, it's going to be if it's not match-made, it's going to be like the 1250 Lost Sectors. People have been able to kind of glitch into the loading for it, and that's probably going to be how you earn other versions of Hawkmoon, by just running that. If anything, you know what? If it plays out like the 1250 Lost Sectors, then I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll go run that mission over and over again to get random world Hawkmoons. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
It creates a dedicated place for you to go get a thing, which is something that we've always kind of wanted in Destiny.
I love it.
It feels like we're getting more and more of it, and that kind of like brings me back to like Evan F. I think is the last four numbers of his username are 1997 or something like that. He had posited like an entire season of just core game loop updates. It feels like we're getting those in with just regular content though. At this point. So
I'm down with it. I like it.
Heck yeah. Other than that, we're getting to the end here. We have two questions. I'm gonna ask those two questions,
through them,
and we'll blow through them. We'll just get out of here. First question comes from Butt Coffee. Question for later: do you think this means? Do you think Yellerhorn will come back in a future season DLC as an exotic quest? Bungie knows full well everyone would want it.
So this is going to be an interesting notion. Before Beyond Light, I would have said probably no. Maybe at the very end of D2's lifespan, they'll bring it back, kind of like they did with Rise of Iron. Now that Beyond Light is out, we've got this little thing called Eyes of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you've seen what Eyes of Tomorrow can do to everything that isn't like a Nightfall boss, because for whatever reason it deals like 50% less damage to specific enemies. It's almost like Bungie knew what they were doing there. It's basically like Gjallarhorn. And because I think Gjallarhorn coming back is fairly likely now.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of Eyes of Tomorrow, what they've done with that. Because they've figured out a way to tune its damage down specifically against the enemies you would most want to use it against. I could see them releasing Gjallarhorn and then just being like, it's just going to do like 50% less damage against raid final bosses and like Grandmaster Nightfall bosses.
But it does so much work against Atrax. Did you see that video earlier this week?
Yeah. One of his shades takes out all of his health. It's fantastic. I love it.
Just super bonkers. I also found out like I raided with Sin earlier this week. Sin and Alaric and Pro Superhero on Tuesday.
Right.
And Sin was talking about how they designed that Atrax encounter. Each of those bosses is just a segment. Each of those mini Atraxes is just a segment of an Atrax that is off the map, which
Yeah,
blew
a
my mind.
captain.
Blew
What
my
a
mind.
brilliant roundabout way to code that, right?
Yeah. And so that's how people that's how it was done solo, right? Was like they glitched into like the area where that captain was and just murdered him on the spot by hacking him away.
Yeah. You use Salvation's grip and glacial grenades to push yourself through the door, and then you go into the next room right before the spacewalk, and he's just a normal captain sitting there chilling out, and that's what all the Shade's health is tied to. So he's a captain with a ludicrous amount of HP, but he won't attack you. He'll run from you, but he won't attack you. So you just
Oh my
sit there and
god.
bully him, and you can kill Atrax. It's great. But I thought the same thing. Really interesting way to code that. So the Atraxes that you fight are basically a shade, segmented shades that are tied to the health of one other captain who's supposed to be off screen. he's the wizard behind the curtain, just like pay no mind to this friendly captain outside of the spacewalk. Fantastic stuff. People should take Eyes of Tomorrow into that and greet him with it.
Yeah. It's it is buddy. It is nutty. Oh my god, I need water or like we need to wrap this up.
So yeah, I think Gjallarhorn could come back because of the prospect of stuff like Lament and Eyes of Tomorrow. And now that we know that they can just code into a weapon, okay, you deal less damage against these bosses. You won't be farming any Grandmaster Nightfall bosses anytime soon.
No. I could see it. I mean,
Yeah.
especially, I would personally, I would like to see things like that tied to like an outbreak or a whisper style mission.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine?
It would be real fun, and they already have, especially if it was something tied to like Fellwinter's Peak or something along those lines. I don't know.
Oh, dude, go back and get the Iron Gjallarhorn.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That'd be cool. That'd be real cool.
Yeah, I would want it to be timed and have a difficulty just like those other two missions, but but in the past we've also said about this that those are usually best kept for raid weapons when they've brought them back. So it wouldn't surprise me if instead of seeing Yellerhorn come back in the raid, if we saw the Vex Mythoclast come back in one of those weekend style missions. And we've talked about that before on the podcast.
So bad. I want that so bad. Just to free up the returning Vault of Glass to have a different exotic. Mm-hmm. I'd be fine with it if Vault of Glass comes back. We get some classics like Fatebringer, like Found Verdict, and all that kind of stuff. But like the exotic is something different, and Vex Mythoclast is dropped from one of those weekend hidden, just thrown out there, Whisper of the Worm style quests. Oh gosh, I want it so badly.
Yeah.
And dude, there is speculation that Venus is coming back. And did you see the terminal change?
The terminals on so isn't it still showing up on Earth in the Cosmodrome on the way to Omnigul? Okay, so there's that one.
Do so.
And then it has also started popping up on in the lunar lost sectors.
Lost sectors. Yeah. Where I don't remember what they used to say on those terminals, but the Ishtar Academy and Venus are popping up on them now.
Yeah.
And it's like, and
so
lore spoilers, somebody talks about going to Venus. It's still there.
So, question. Who would be the vendor, do you think? Would it
at Venus?
Yeah. Is that the lore spoilers that you're talking about?
Not quite. A character talks about potentially going there, but then ultimately decides against it, so I don't think they're going to do that.
Is it Anna Bray?
Probably, given everything we just learned about Europa and the Bray Institute and all that kind of the Bray Tech and all that kind of stuff. They talk about the Ishtar Academy, and remember, there's a lot of commingling lore between the Ishtar Academy and the
Bray
and Clovis Bray.
Yeah.
They didn't like Clovis Bray. He did some jacked up stuff to those people, and they did some jacked up stuff in response. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Anna. If Anna goes down to the Ishtar Academy to kind of pick up a few things that we left off with back in D1. Oh, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah. That would, just seems
take
like
Elsie there.
Yeah, it just seems like it would be a good way for them to continue the story of the Brays and also use an NPC that they've already put in different like.
She's not in the tower. Mars is gone.
Yeah.
We know she's looking to do something with Rasputin, which I'm surprised we haven't seen anything from that yet.
Yeah.
Like, hey, granddaddy Clovis, can we get an exo body for this guy?
Yeah.
That could cause.
Oh boy.
That could cause some problems in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do hope we get to go back to Venus sometime soon, and there's some hints there that we might.
Yeah. The last question of the evening, X5 Maximus asks, do you think crossplay is good for the game? I think it's great for PvE, but not sure about PvP because the meta and the balance is so different. They already don't balance PC and console separately, which they need to. Also, do you think it will include Stadia? I logged into D2 on Stadia the other day. It's free now, and I have been messing around with it. So, really, that was like 8 questions.
Yeah.
So we're already seeing crossplay between cross-generational consoles. I have heard some people on PS4 complain about. Well, it's just conjecture at this point. They don't know for sure if the person they're playing it. There's no way for you to know if you are playing against somebody on a separate console than you at this point in time.
Yeah, it doesn't show anything.
It doesn't show the difference. The only thing that I can think of when it comes to the console play at this point, at this juncture in time, is that the FOV slider is you can push out your FOV and see a bigger amount of the arena than the person who's on PS4, and it's like looking through a Coke can. So
makes
like
a difference.
That is a big difference. Movement is a big difference when it comes to like PC. Honestly, I think what you were talking about earlier with crossplay, it would be a matter of opting in for those things.
Yes.
I can see it working out great for PvE. I can see the crossplay between the two creating more rules for scrims than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I play controller on PC, and feel like I do decent enough on the PC side. I don't rock anybody, and I get rocked a lot of times, but I don't feel like it keeps me from improving in the Crucible, if that makes any sense.
No, you're absolutely right, and it's the same for me. I play with controller on PC, and I think a lot of people were concerned about how that interaction would work, and certainly the skill ceiling is higher with mouse and keyboard, but you can perform just fine with controller on PC. Destiny is already a game that has a ludicrously friendly amount of aim assist tied to it. It's the gap is not nearly as uncrossable as you might think. It's I do just fine. I do just fine on PC. So to go through the different questions there, do I think crossplay is good for the game? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is an unequivocal good. It has shot player numbers up in basically every game that it's been done in. It's a huge benefit for the overall player base to be able to play with the most amount of people who are available at any given time. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a good thing for PvE. I think it'll be okay for PvP. I was one of the people who was really worried about crossplay when it came to consoles and PC, especially in Call of Duty. For those out there who don't know, I am huge into Call of Duty. I'm a big Call of Duty guy. I play Call of Duty on PC, and I was really worried about PS4 and Xbox players getting into PC lobbies and just getting sauced by PC sweatlords. But it's been really good. I think Activision handled it really well with some of the matchmaking options I talked about earlier in the show. And I think it's been an incredible good for that platform. So I would hope the same thing is going to happen on PC as well. It's going to be it's going to be an opt-in sort of thing. I don't think there's any way around that. And hopefully Bungie can look into doing some kind of maybe they can look into doing input-based matchmaking so that, if you're using a controller on PC, it matches you with other controller players.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Well,
and yeah, I do believe it'll include Stadia too.
And yeah, I believe it would include Stadia too, but oh god. when when it comes to support on consoles, do you think that Bungie would possibly add keyboard and mouse support for these consoles in order to keep them competitive as well in that regard?
I think specifically for PS5, Series S, and Series X, yeah, that's coming.
Yeah.
Because there's already kind of native mouse and keyboard support on consoles right now. It's very iffy. But I think the PS5 and the Series X, I definitely know the Series X and Series S come with native mouse and keyboard support. Like you can just plug one in and play with it, I do believe.
Gotcha.
And I think I think that's a thing on those two consoles. So I think when it comes to these next gen consoles, I think absolutely Bungie's going to push and for allowing that native support on those consoles.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Allow more people to play the way they want.
One last word on Stadia from the Ninja Rockstar in chat. Last time I logged into Stadia, I match made with a tumbleweed.
That's why crossplay is a good thing.
Yep.
And I bet that tumbleweed was sweaty AF.
Oh my god. But here's the thing, his connection was super weird.
Couldn't get a lock on him. He was just it's like he was rolling.
He'd roll over here, then he'd roll over there. Then he's rolling right down the middle at me. Next thing I knew, steamrolled by a tumbleweed.
Unstoppable. It was absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Stadia might be the platform that most benefits from cross-platform play.
Until it gets shut down next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. But it's yeah. I'm hugely into crossplay. There's my community on our Discord is very diverse. It has a lot of PC players, a lot of PlayStation players, a lot of Xbox players. To bring them all under one roof, it is a remarkable feat in and of itself. But the ability to then be able to play with them through that is fantastic. I would love. I think that will do so much for your friends lists. Not having to worry about being in the same like ecosystem as another person, and just being able to play on the internet is a wonderful thing. I also think you're going to be looking at third party voice solutions. You're going to be looking at your Discords.
Get on Discord.
Yeah, get on Discord now. Verify your phone number. Like,
oh yeah,
do the thing, and just get ready for it. Because my community, what I did at the beginning of last season, I said next season we're moving all to Discord comms.
Yeah,
it's so much easier for me as a creator to mute myself and do my job talking to chat when with this platform. It also enables people from cross-platform disciplines to join up together and talk.
Absolutely.
So you're probably going to be looking at that or whatever Bungie does with their comm system that is already in the game. Which
just get on Discord.
Just get on Discord, man.
It's so easy. It incorporates a lot of things from games now. It's got overlay features in a lot of games. Just get on Discord. It is so much simpler than trying to party up, at least certainly on the PlayStation. I gave up on that a long time ago. All my parties and chats go through Discord.
I stuck with it all last season, and then seeing where PlayStation was taking their voice comms, their solution for that, there's no comparison. Just go to Discord. It's easier.
Yeah.
You can play. A lot of people were complaining that like I gotta use 2 headsets. It's like, well, I don't know what to do for you. Like there's you can plug your headphones into your phone and chat that way. Like it really makes it
on your phone.
A lot easier.
Everywhere. It's so much.
Yep.
So much simpler.
And most of your favorite creators are already on Discord and already have probably wonderful communities that you can join. So
yeah, get in.
There's that benefit.
It's a lot of fun, and it makes things so much easier through Discord. Yep. I love it. What a great program.
So,
well, all right, was that it for the questions?
That's it.
All right, then. I do believe that brings us to the end of episode 264 of the Planet Destiny podcast. I think this has been a pretty interesting week of Destiny. We had a lot of stuff to cover, but by gosh, we made our way through it, buddy.
Remember when we thought this was going to be a short episode?
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
We're going to have to make a commitment to it. Look, when the show, we're just going to have a kill switch, and when the show gets past 1 hour, button presses, it just shuts us off.
There's just like, instead of a countdown timer to get into the show on Twitch, it's a countdown till the kill switch gets hit.
It's a countdown to when the show gets yeeted because, good lord, we need to cut it down.
Oh my god.
We had a good show. I think for the two of us, I think we covered a lot of stuff and did a pretty good job of it, buddy. So well done. Well done. Round of applause for you, Mr. Danfinity. I'll certainly clap.
I'm applauding you.
There we go. Yeah. It's a circle jerk of clapping for ourselves.
Huzzah!
The most pompous type. But all right, everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Before we get on out of here, of course, we are going to let you know where you can find us all across the internet, starting with the one, the only, Mr. Danfinity. Take it away, buddy.
Hi, hello, my name's Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danfinity, where the eyes are L's. You can also find me on Twitch 3 days a week, twitch.tv/Danfinity. And boy, howdy, do I have a lot of things that are going to be coming up this week. Oh boy, do I. We're going to be playing some Destiny 2 and probably some Cyberpunk on the channel. Also, I want to suggest something to all of you. You should go sub to my friends Aura, TBL, Nim Plays, just the whole Planet Destiny crew, because it's, you know what's coming up? The holidays. And what's the holidays about? Giving. You should give to my Planet Destiny family. Keep me out of it. Just like sign my name on the card, just tiny in the corner, and said Dan sent me, and that's it.
That guy.
Yep.
Happy holidays to one and all, especially you, buddy.
Back at you, buddy.
By the way,
yes,
there was no way I wasn't going to say this throughout the show. I bet y'all thought it was going to happen. You playing Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
What is your genital size? What is it?
See, is it? I talked to you about this beforehand. I wanted to create an androgynous David Bowie type character.
Yes, the Goblin King.
I actually turned off all the nudity options. Because
interesting play.
Basically, I wanted to create a Ken doll. And the game wouldn't allow me to do it. So instead, I created a nomadic female to start out. She's great. She's sassy. She like that. She knows how to hit people in the head with giant guns.
She's a sassy David Bowie.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, kind of. I don't know. I think maybe my corpo will be the David Bowie character. We'll just have to see. But
okay,
I'm having fun with it. It is a game that is, it is what it is, and if you like it, then you do, and if you don't, I just want to say this: it's fine. You don't have to like everything.
Yeah, that's perfect. What a novel thought. You don't have to like every game out there. And I have heard Cyberpunk is very, very fun. It's a bit of a glitchy mess.
Oh yeah.
But,
it's so
it's fun.
And what they're doing on the consoles is horrible. Like to the point where PlayStation is issuing refunds.
Oops.
I don't agree with their social media output. There's so many things around the game that I don't like. But when I'm in the game, I like it. It is a gorgeous mess. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. I mean, I'm going to be getting it on PC if and when I ever do get it. So I might just hold out and wait for the mods to pop up so that I can have the option Penis 5.
Yeah. I want to create exactly. External memory says, "Ooh, thin white Duke Corpo is chef's kiss." Exactly. I want him to have different colored eyes, and I want him to walk into a room and go, "Hey, baby, do you want to go dance with me?" And do that.
Ken doll, I love it.
Yeah.
Ken doll, David Bowie,
yeah.
the actual Goblin King. I love it. Fantastic. I greatly await the day when that is possible in Cyberpunk 2077.
I do too.
Here's hoping.
Also the option for they them regardless of what
Yeah,
voice you choose.
one of
Also,
those.
continue.
But all right, everybody, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. Didn't have much time for streaming last week. We did get a couple in, but I have been working. Real life work has been dominating my day. And this week, as we get closer and closer to the Christmas holiday, it's going to be more and more real life work. So we'll get the streams in when we can. Definitely not going to be on Monday. Maybe Tuesday through Friday, we might have some time during the day to get in and have some live streams. And if we do, it'll be more of the same Destiny 2 stuff. We've got Dawning coming up, so I'll probably be doing a lot of that. And have the occasional Final Fantasy 14 stream as well. We just had a big patch of content come out for that too. But all right, everybody, that is it for episode 264 of the Planet Destiny podcast, your guide to This Week in Destiny. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Hi, everybody.